Hey, brother. So, if you're watching this video, you just relapsed, you watched porn, you fapped, you fell back into this cycle of shame, and I want to help you get out of it. Here's your next 10 minutes. Here's the next immediate actionable step to take. Because if you're anything like me, or anything like I was, this has happened before. You set a goal or created this arbitrary number of, I'm going to achieve a streak. I'm going to hit 90 days no fap. And there's a problem with that because it defines this small window of time before you get to that next hit of dopamine, before you fall back into the pattern of addiction. And so you need to reframe it. But before I even get to that, let's back up a second. And the very first step that I want you to take is to stop yourself from descending into shame. Because you may not have a porn addiction, you may have a shame addiction. Think about it. When you're watching porn, you're doing it hidden from view. You're probably doing it in an incognito browser. And it's not like you're going out and telling people this is something that you do. You're keeping it to yourself, right? And so typically what happens is you fall off the wagon, you fall back, you relapse, whether it's semen retention or watching porn or what have you. And then you go back into this cycle, with this story of, I couldn't do it this time. It always happens. And then you go down this dopamine water slide and start re-engaging and watching more and doing it more. And then the cycle repeats. And pretty soon it's normal again. But you have to stop yourself from thinking this. And you have to remind yourself, this is not normal. When people talk about no fap superpowers, it's wrong. And it's wrong because they're not superpowers. They're normal powers that, unfortunately, most of us have forgotten or have never accessed because of porn, because of PMO, because of masturbation, right? When you're naturally operating from the state, when you're accessing all of your life force, you're operating at 100% capacity. It's like you can just flip the switch and turn Super Saiyan. That's what it is. And the thing is, you've always been Super Saiyan. You just forgot how to access it. And so when you stop watching porn, when you go on semen retention, you have the ability to access that flow and that channel once again. So first things first, don't fall down this cycle of shame. Witness the shame and the emotion surrounding the shame as it arises in your consciousness, like clouds in the sky, like thoughts emerging and going back and forth. Observe it and choose not to engage with that story anymore. And what I'd like you to do is read the easy peasy method, because this is going to educate you. So you have to stop the shame. You need to get educated on what's actually happening when you're watching porn, when you're masturbating to porn. And what's really happening is your brain is getting hijacked and getting flooded with dopamine, this feel-good chemical. And so you're chemically addicted to these images on the screen. If you were talking to your kid, whether you have a kid or not, let's say you don't, but you're gonna have a kid, right? And you're having a conversation with that kid, and they said, well, what do you do in your free time? Would you tell them you watch porn? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't say that. No, because what porn does, it hijacks it, and you fall down what's called the slippery slope of dopamine addiction. Back in the day, generations previous, you could only mate with the person you can walk to, right? So the furthest you can walk was the limit of the range of potential mates. Now, when you go online to this, almost like this online harem, you have an infinite number of people. And so when you switch from video to video, what's really happening is you're going from new partner to new partner to new partner to new partner. And your brain doesn't understand the difference between reality and this object. You're objectifying women by seeing them as this source of dopamine. And that's why when you meet a woman in real life, you don't know what to do. because you never had to. You can just fast forward on the screen, but not in real life. No, in real life, you have to experience the difficult emotions, the fear, the trepidation. You have to muster the courage to not do this. But you already know this. You're not watching the video for this. You're watching it because you relapsed and you want to know what to do next. And the first thing you do is you stop the shame cycle. You educate yourself, read the easy peasy method, learn about dopamine addiction, what's really going on in your brain, and you reset, you recalibrate. You start finding the triggers that lead you back into this pattern. For me, because I still struggle with this, even as I'm recording this video, is if I'm in my room with nothing to do, the temptation to fall into lust via porn is immense, There's voices literally saying, hey, just open that browser. And it becomes a battle of wills. And I'm not saying that you should have a battle of wills. And if you read the easy peasy method, they talk about how you cannot rely on willpower alone because one peak begins the descent. And I've been there many times. Well, let me just look it up in the browser. Let me just look at the images, but keep it blurred. This is just kind of greasing the wheels to go back down that slope. So you have to reframe, recenter, identify what's triggering you every time you relapse. So if you realize every time I relapse, I'm stressed out. Every time I relapse, I'm bored. Then you need to immediately, every time you find yourself in that trigger, change your state. Go outside. Go do push-ups. Go take a cold shower. They tell you this, but this is true. And it's going to be helpful. But ultimately, you need to realize why you're doing this. Why do NoFap? Why abstain from semen retention? What via semen retention? Why do any of this? And to me, it's to live a better life, to live a more fulfilled life. And realize that if you are on this journey, you need to give yourself props because most people aren't. I have people commenting on these videos saying I'm crazy. Oh, that's so sad. This is ridiculous. I can't believe you're doing this. People don't get it. But when you're on it, you do get it. It's one of those things where you know when you know. And I was just talking to my roommate about this. I'm like, how do you know when you found your wife? Right? And I don't know because I haven't found her yet. But it's one of those things where you don't know until you know. And the same thing goes with this. You don't understand the impact, the positive impact that semen retention makes on you until you're doing it. And so you need to really get clear on that why. For me, one thing I think about a lot, every time I've relapsed or just in passing when someone mentions porn casually or PMO in any regard, I want to be the strongest version of myself I can for my future sons, for my future kids, for my future partner, right? And this is something that I've seen some very brave men talk about, like Terry Crews talks about his journey with this. And vulnerability, so long as you're sharing your scars and not your wounds, and if you're being honest about your wounds and where you're at, people can really resonate with that. And so it's my intention with these videos to be very honest and direct with you and authentic via my own experience. You need to figure out why you're doing this and really figure out for real why. Like what, at the end of your life and you're looking back, what's something you wish you could have done? Maybe it was taking more chances with women. Maybe it was raising a family. And if you haven't done that and it's something you want to do, you need to get really clear on what responsibilities you're willing to uphold and what things you're willing to say no to. And this may be one of them. It's not easy. This is a very challenging thing to do, especially with all of the dopamine at your disposal. This universe of a phone you can access everything on. And so have faith in God. Lean on Him. If you find yourself struggling, reach out to a friend who might be on a similar journey. But say a prayer. Say, hey God, I need your strength right now. Please lend me your strength so I can persevere through this. And He will provide. Have faith. Find your why. Stop the shame. Educate yourself. A lot of steps, but take them one step at a time and know that you are further along than you think. I'll see you in the next video, my friend.